What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Power Hour stream. Had a decent amount of action today on SPY. We had the jobless claims come out early in the day. 6.6 million new claims for this week, setting a new record. We broke the record last week, making an all-time high record, and now we already beat that record this week. Probably going to continue like that for the next 2 weeks. It's hard to say if next week will beat this week's record again, but it probably will be around 3 to 5 million, if not more. So keep an eye on the jobless claims next week as well. But funny thing is, even with the record-setting unemployment, just as we saw last week, the market does not care. The market is still going up, mainly driven by oil. Typically, when oil has a very strong surge or a very strong decline, you see a pretty good correlation in the equities market. So the equities market currently seems to be not really caring about the jobless claims, but following the crude breakout more so. And I'm going to go over all the different little call outs that we made and all the different points of interest of today's price action. Now, all these little arrows, these are not trades. I wish they were. This would be pretty damn easy. But they're just points of interest, things that I called out in the Discord. And yeah, so let me pull that up. I need to fix this. There we go. So starting off, like I said, we didn't see really a big gap up or a gap down. Pretty much started off the day where it closed yesterday. We had a little bit of a kind of a whipsaw in the beginning of the day, tried to push higher, failed the VWAP close of yesterday's session, popped back down towards the low of yesterday, and then found support. We retraced above VWAP. We actually called this out in Discord right here. We were bouncing off VWAP, saw a nice little engulfing candle come in, popped up. We called these out in Discord as well. We had a couple of exits of the VWAP band. So we had 2 exits of the VWAP band towards the first hour of the day. Neither one of which could pull back into VWAP because we were so bullish. So we had a small retrace on both of these, but neither one could really get down towards VWAP because the bulls were just buying up everything. And then we saw that this level back, this high, that was the high of the day before this pump that retested the previous VWAP. This acted as a nice support. When we tried to retest VWAP here, it bounced off this support both times. So we saw two bounces, one here with a nice little doji, pop up, retest VWAP, pull back, and then he tested that level again. And then he pushed up and just massive volume came in on the buy side. What's going on, Keytoy? You saw a lot of buyers come in, push the price up. You broke your high of day. You were riding the VWAP band all the way up. This is pretty bullish. You had a little bit of an exit, come back in, but then you popped right above it again. You had one more exit, which became the high of the day. We called this out in Discord as well. And that created your nice little point of origin doji around 251.80. So you had a nice little point of origin resistance for the rest of the day. So moving forward, it got pretty choppy after that. So once we had that exit, we put in that high of the day was established. Typically when you have these exits like we saw here and here, they try to retrace towards VWAP. They don't always have to touch VWAP exactly, but they do try to retrace towards VWAP. Or it's kind of like a mean reversion strategy, right? So we had that high of day being put in. It's trying to mean revert all the way back to VWAP, which it did. We called out this accumulation, distribution, whatever you want to call it. It could be both because you have a markup here. Could be distribution, or You do have a local markdown, so it could be accumulation. Honestly, either argument works. So you had your range being formed, nice little test of the range low and the range high. You're right inside that cloud as well, so typically when you're trading inside the cloud, you are going to get that choppy price action. So we had that choppy price action. You failed finally on that low to tap VWAP. You had that volume come in right off of VWAP, showing you that the buyers were trying to hold up VWAP. Typically, you'll see that if it is a bullish trend. You want to hold the VWAP and not allow the buyers to, or sorry, the sellers to push it lower. Not only that, though, you did have the 200 EMA right below VWAP. So if you did break VWAP here, you did have another support waiting for you. You also had this previous high of day before you saw that massive breakout that was going to act as support. You had the previous high of day, you had VWAP, you had the 200 EMA, so you had a very, very nice support here. And then you bounced off VWAP, you completed your exit, you exited back inside VWAP, exited, got back inside, tapped VWAP here, so you completed that trade. And then you bounced up, and then look at where you failed. Right on that point of origin that we talked about from your high of day. So you have your high of day, you have that failure down to VWAP, and you have your point of origin. Look at where you failed, right on that point of origin. We called this out in Discord as well. So you retraced into the range. This became a small deviation. So you deviated from the range. You came back inside the range. Tried to pop out of it. A little bit of a failure there. Retested the middle of the range, the 50%. You found support on that 50% twice. So you popped up, hit the top of the range, found support on it again, and then you popped up again to retest that point of origin. So once again, the point of origin holding price down. You didn't want to be too bullish until that point of origin was reclaimed. If your high of day, point of origin, failure, failure. We also mentioned that in Discord as well. So then you wanted to return to VWAP, right? So you failed your point of origin. You're not going to find support on the range again because you already tried to find support on the range. So all those range buyers that were trying to hold up the range, they have already been taken. That liquidity has already been grabbed, right? So typically when you see that first deviation, you come back, you grab those buyers, and then you fail right outside the range, you're not going to see that support come in. You can, but it's not typical. The probability of it happening is pretty low. So once we grab that liquidity, you're not going to see the liquidity again. So where are you going to look? You're going to look for the 200 EMA, which is the orange line, and VWAP, right? So we come back towards VWAP. We break through the 200 EMA, no problem. Very good volume coming in on the sell side. Try to find support on VWAP. You can see a couple of candles tried to push up, but then you failed it because you had very strong sell volume. And like I've told you guys in my VWAP videos or throughout the stream, if you want to break VWAP, you typically need to see strong volume in that direction. So if you're trying to break VWAP towards the downside, you typically need to see that strong volume coming from the sellers, not the buyers. And if you want to bounce off VWAP like we saw here, you need to see that volume start to come in from the buyers. And the way that you can tell which direction the volume's coming in is what do the candles look like? So we had a sharp V reversal here, so you can easily tell that the volume is coming in from the buy side. We did not have any kind of sharp signal here, so there was not a lot of strong buyers. You had a lot of strong sellers instead, because you have these top wicks, right? Typically when you see top wicks, the volume is going to be coming from the sellers, right? Okay, so let's keep going. We broke VWAP, strong sell volume, like we said, pulled back into retest VWAP. Perfect retest of VWAP. We called this out in Discord as well. I keep mentioning this so you guys don't think this is just all hindsight bullshit. This isn't all hindsight. If you guys are in the Discord, I call out these moves step by step as we're going through the Discord. And I'm going to show you that here in a second. I'll show you guys what a typical what a typical day looks like for this SPY intraday trading. So we had the retest of VWAP, we failed downward, and then look at where we bounced. That point of origin that led us to the daily high, right? So you have that point of origin. This is a point of origin support. This is a point of origin resistance. We see the resistance played out beautifully. So let's see if the support plays out beautifully. It doesn't play out perfectly, but you do see that bounce. You see that buy volume start to come in. And then you push back up towards VWAP, towards the 200 EMA, towards the cloud, towards the low of the range. So I called this out in Discord. I said that this was a massive resistance because you had everything lining up as a resistance. You had the VWAP, you had the 200, you had the range low, and you had the cloud. So all four of the indicators lined up as resistance, and then you had that green to red shift, which confirmed your resistance. So then we fell back down. This has already been tested. This level has already been tested, so it's no longer a clean level, right? So we failed the level, was not tested. It was already tested. We failed it, and then we retested this lower level. Where'd this level come from? This was another point of origin that led us to that previous high of day. So we had that point of origin, previous high of day, and then the high of day, right? So both of these are point of origins. And then we have that point of origin on the low, which would have acted as a support if you pushed down lower. So this one wasn't a clean support. You did have a lot of kind of choppiness come in around that time. And then you had your reversal, which you typically do see around this time of day. So if you are going to see a strong reversal, you'll typically see it around that kind of 1 to 230. And this was around, 230 is exactly where we saw that reversal. So the reversal came off that level. It wasn't perfect. So if you had a tight stop loss, you probably would have got stopped out. But then we bounced up, found a little bit of resistance on this level. But once again, like I said, that level has already been grabbed and it's already been failed. So this is not a very clean level. So it's not going to hold exactly to the mark, right? So we had that failure of the level. We had a couple of retests, couple of failures. But eventually it stayed above your support and you broke into VWAP again. So I marked that out as a failure of that range. But look at what we see here. We see a retest. It front ran this level a little bit, but we see a retest of kind of that support around that lower range, right? We retest that lower range. After a little bit of struggle, we pop back into that 200 EMA and VWAP, right? So once again, since VWAP has been tested so many times today, it's not going to be super clean. You see a little bit of choppiness on VWAP. But look at where we're failing. It might not be failing VWAP perfectly, but look at where it's failing here. Look at these multiple tops. These multiple tops are being put in from that original range. So you basically have that range. You have a couple of deviations, right? Failure of the range, retest. And now we're popping back up into retest. We kind of have an inverse head and shoulders forming on the 1 minute. You can see this left shoulder, head, right shoulder, right? You can consider this whole thing one head. It's a little bit of a choppy head, but you kind of have an inverse head and shoulders forming. And where is the neckline of this head and shoulders? The neckline is right on that range high, that range low. So if you reclaim that range low, not only will you be fulfilling kind of a bullish accumulation low, not a failure, but a regain. So you're regaining the accumulation low. So not only is that bullish, but you're also breaking the neckline of an inverse head and shoulders. If we do see a reclaim of this level around 249 to 250, this is pretty bullish. You probably will see some buy pressure towards the end of the day coming back in towards the range high and the point of origin high. So let's keep an eye on this. We'll see some buyers step in here if they do want to push this higher. But that is the recap of the day. That's basically all the stuff we called out in Discord, all the stuff that we were watching today. That is it. So now we're seeing a nice little buy up, like I said. Kind of have an inverse head and shoulders forming. You are trying to reclaim VWAP. You do have some decent buy volume coming in, but it looks like they're losing steam. They're trying to come in, but it's a little bit of a distribution coming in. Make sure you keep an eye on this 200 EMA, which is acting as the low of this distribution. And then you have the range high, or sorry, the range low, acting as the high of the distribution. I know it gets a little confusing with all these different levels and whatnot, but once you guys get the hang of each technique, one by one, it's very easy to put them together. Hey, Turnip, you said crazy times. Glad to have you streaming, mate. You said, what was that scamwick type action on SPY today? It's just because we had a lot of action today from the jobless claims report. So you had some fundamentals coming out, and then you had the crude oil bounce, right? So crude oil was massively bouncing today. If you look at the crude oil futures, we had a massive buy up here, mainly from Trump tweeting about how he talked to the Saudi prince, and he heard from the Saudi prince that they were in discussion with Russia to clamp down on kind of their supply and yada, yada, yada. Just kind of hearsay about crude oil kind of cutting supply. So cutting supply is bullish, which led it all the way up. But then the Russian, I think it was the ambassador or something to Russia, he said that they didn't talk to Saudi Arabia, so they don't know what Trump's talking about. So then it pulled back, and now it's kind of just arranging. So we have no idea. Either Trump just blatantly lied, or the Saudi prince lied to Trump about him talking to Russia. We don't know yet. That's basically all the stuff that we had happen today. We got 40 minutes left on the day. Probably we'll see some volatility come in here. Buyers starting to step in. See if they can reclaim this range low. Turnip said, I don't think they will come to an agreement anytime soon. Even if they do, man, it's going to be a crazy market because the demand for oil around the world is plummeting. Because there's a bunch of plants that are closing. Nobody's going to work. The world as we see it is just halting, right? The world runs on oil for the most part, and the world is not running right now. The car is basically idling. A tweet that came out 30 minutes ago said that congressional estimates say that they expect U.S. GDP to decline by more than 7% during the second quarter. So anybody expecting some relief in this second quarter, you're probably not going to get it. It is really quite stupid that the market is even pumping at all today. You have record high unemployment, twice the expectation. So even saying that people priced it in, quote unquote, wouldn't be accurate because the expectation for the jobless claims this week was about 3 million, I believe. It did 6.6 million. So it's over 100% expectations, right? So even if you said that it was priced in, it wouldn't be accurate. I think mainly it's pumping because the Fed, everyone who is buying, they are on the team of infinite money, right? They're trying to be backed by infinite money. They're trying to have the Fed pump their positions, keep the market afloat, right? So they think that there's no need to sell a lot here because you'll be selling against the Fed, right? But the way I see it and what I talked about on Discord is having them artificially inflate the market is going to make it worse for when the market is finally just it's done with pumping, right? They can't artificially pump it forever. So when they're done pumping it, even though they say they have infinite money, they can't. It would cause so much inflation. They can't do it. But when the market is finally ready to dump, it's going to dump so much harder if they stop injecting money, right? Because the market is going to become so used to them just injecting money to protect it, to protect the buyers, right? That once they start falling, it's going to be like a cascade failure. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Major buys starting to come in here. You're back into that range. As long as you can hold this range here, you're looking very bullish for a retest of like 251, 2518. You said the USA is going to become like Japan? Didn't Japan try to do the same thing they were doing? They tried to like pump their market, but it just wasn't working. Oh yeah, not to mention the crude market pumping and SPY pumping for no reason. Bitcoin was pumping today as well. Bitcoin pumped all the way up to 73, 70, yeah, about 7,300. And now we're back down to 68, so it got nuked already. It's already down 7% from the high. You're back below your VWAP on the day. Your cloud is flipping red, but you're not below the cloud just yet. I'm still cashed out of crypto, so I didn't catch that move. I do have a little bit of Bitcoin in a couple of wallets, but not a whole bunch. I'm probably like 75% cash right now. Take a look at the sectors here. Almost all the sectors are green except for, what is this? Consumer, discretionary, and real estate. Real estate's performing badly, down about 1%. Consumer sentiment down about 0.4. Everything else is green. Sector's not doing too bad here. Let me get rid of all these arrows now that we went over them. Like I mentioned in Discord, guys, if anybody is a futures trader, which me and Sticky are getting back into, he's currently on step 2 of the combines. If he passes this step 2, he gets a funded account. I am just doing a trial right now, playing with their platform. I'm not doing the combine just yet, but I'm going to start doing the combine probably next week or the week after. But if anybody's trading futures and you're looking at this analysis that we're doing in Discord, a lot of these plays that I'm calling out, these VWAP failures, these level failures, they're on average 10 to 30 points. 10 to 30 points of the ES is $500 to $1,500 a trade, right? If you're trading micros, it's about $50 to $150 a trade. So either way, it's pretty solid. We're going to be trading micros for the start of our account. Because that's what Sticky's doing. He's doing the swing trader account, trading micros, and then he's going to build up. He's going to do the combine for the bigger account down the road. I'm going to do the same thing. I like that idea. So I'm going to start with the swing trader, play micros, and then move up to the bigger account. That's if we can pass the combine. The only thing hard about the combine is they have very strict rules for like stop losses and trailing drawdown and daily loss limits and stuff. Their rules are pretty standard for how you would want to trade yourself. They're just a little strict. They're a little tight. So the only reason that I would have trouble with the combine is if I just can't adapt to their rules. So I'm going to try to trade on a trial for like the next week, see if I can adapt to their rule set. If I can adapt to their rule set, we'll try to do the combine probably in the week after. Hey, Block Tech, you said Trump tweeted about oil and then it pumped. Yeah, we were talking about that. Trump did a really good job pumping oil for all the oil bros. Yeah, here I'll show you guys. If you guys are not in the Discord, I'll show you guys what a typical day looks like in our stock channel. Where did I start our day? Here we go. I started our day right here. Typically around 10 o'clock is when I start posting analysis. And then I just talk about what's happening with SPY. But like I said, most of those levels we called out. You can see that support held. Nice little bounce on that support. Called out all the VWAP failures. You had that breaking your downtrend here back into that strong uptrend. Then you had that range start to come in where you exited that high of day, started to pull back towards VWAP. There's your VWAP retrace being complete. Here's that point of origin I marked. Called out the range and the deviation. There's that engulfing up to that level. You had that resistance hold there. Testing the mid-range back to your mid-range test. Popped back up into your level again. And you had your failures through. Retest of VWAP. Found support on the level. This is what a typical day looks like in our Discord for the stock trading. I did that all yesterday as well. Gonna be doing it tomorrow as well. So you're not able to reclaim the 50 here. Look at that. You got back into the range. No support found. Failed the 50. Let's keep an eye on it here. Watch VWAP. Watch the 200 EMA. Oh, sorry. Let me pull up the time and sales. There we go. Still have that big buyer sitting around 240. You have the big seller around 255. Seems like they don't want to be filled. They always pull their orders and make them lower, make them higher. Seems like they're trying to design a range for the market makers, right? Still holding VWAP. You're kind of stuck in between this range of VWAP, 200 EMA. Why is it doing that? 200 EMA, or sorry, VWAP, 200 EMA, and then we have the range. So you're kind of stuck in between these two levels. Basically all day, all that price action we just looked at, it's on a 1 minute, right? So you're seeing it all kind of laid out for you. But if you look at the higher time frames, the 15 minute, all that price action towards the top was rejecting the 200 EMA. So we tapped the 200 EMA like 3 or 4 times, and we rejected it each time, which acted as a beautiful top for the 1 minute, right? So the 15 minute 200 EMA was there too, and as well as the 5 minute 200 EMA. The 5 minute 200 EMA also was failing these highs. The 200 EMA is a very, very strong line you want to be paying attention to, not just on the time frame you're trading, but on other time frames as well. So the 1 hour is nowhere near price. 30 minute, not really anywhere near price. So the only ones you really need to pay attention to are the 15 minute around 251.50. You got the 5 around 250. Then you have the 1 minute around 248. Pretty strong shooting star doji there. That's pretty bearish. Look at that rejection too. Look at that shooting star. As soon as you closed, price is nuking. Massive sell-off into that shooting star. Bouncing off VWAP though. Let's see if it can hold. Nope. 200 EMA. Let's see. A little bit of a bounce off the 200. Getting back above VWAP. Decent buys coming in on the order book. They disappeared, but they were coming in pretty quick during the failure. People are trying to buy the bounce. Back above VWAP. So there you go. Just after I said you want to be paying attention to the 200 EMA, it's bouncing off the 200 EMA here. Don't know if it's going to hold. You're still bearish on the OTS, but you saw exactly where you bottomed. It was almost exactly that level. I think if the market continues to run for the rest of the day, and then we see another bullish day tomorrow, it's probably going to be a bloody Monday, because I don't see how this could just continue to bounce like this. Unless the Fed just keeps pumping ridiculous amounts of money into the market, I don't see how they can continue to pump. You got to think about all the revenue being lost on all these big companies that make up the S&P, they make up the NASDAQ. These companies have little to no revenue coming in. And you think it's bad now, wait until 2 to 3 months down the line when people can't pay their mortgages, people can't pay their rent, right? This stimulus bill, this stimulus to provide like $1,200 to certain families and provide $500 per child, yada yada. That's not enough to cover months of rent, right? That might help them for 1 month. It's not going to cover 2, 3, 4 months of rent. So when these people are out of jobs for 2, 3 months, unless they get back to work, this economy is it's gonna keep crashing. Head and shoulders bull trap. Yeah, you could see it as a head and shoulders. It's not very clean. I wouldn't consider it a head and shoulders, but I do see what you're saying. kind of looks like a head and shoulders forming. Hey man, what's going on? Aki said exactly. That's why I don't get why so many people are debating that that employment lack of revenue is being priced in. Yeah, I think. See, I think it's partially priced in, right? Like, of course it's partially priced in because this is all speculation, right? This is all speculation. We're just now towards the bottom as we're bouncing. We're just now starting to see hard numbers, right? We're starting to see the unemployment getting higher and higher. We're starting to see the earnings come out from these other companies. But until we get this quarter, because okay, so how earnings works, right, guys? All the earnings that come out like throughout this time frame through April, May, June, it's for the previous quarter, right? So we need to see the earnings during this quarter, right? So all these earnings are going to start to come out in the next 2 to 3 months, right? So in the next 2 to 3 months, we're going to start getting hard numbers to back the speculation. Right now, this is all speculation pretty much. It's a little bit of fact, but mostly speculation. So yes, it's priced in to a certain degree, but if you think that this is going to be the entire crisis of the coronavirus, I do not agree. I do not agree at all. I think we are easily seeing below 200 SPY. When we start to see all these earnings come out, when we start to see more unemployment, when we start to see the mortgage and car, all the loans, basically just loans period, when we start to see all these loans start to default and all these people start to default on their loans, they can't pay back their mortgages, their cars, their credit cards, whatever, right? When we start to see all that come in with the bad revenue, how the hell is this priced in? You know what I mean? The only way that it doesn't nuke below 200 is if the Fed just keeps pumping money into the market. And if the Senate and President Trump releases more stimulus. If they release more stimulus and the Fed keeps pumping the market, then maybe it can stay above 200. Now, I don't want to be a perma bear, right? I don't want to be like a fear monger. I'm not trying to scare you guys. But you just got to think about what's going on right now. This isn't even the beginning. The coronavirus, even if it starts to die down, right, and the cases get smaller and smaller, the market has not felt the strain of the coronavirus yet. The revenue from these companies has not come in. The people are still living off their savings. What happens when their savings are gone? You can look at multiple studies from the United States or even other countries. Most people do not have. Well, it's different each country, but in the United States, most small businesses or just family households do not have more than 3 months saved up. It's much less for a lot of people. It's people. Think about how many people are paycheck to paycheck, right? What is default? Default is like when people can't pay their loans. If you're defaulting on a loan, you can't pay your loan, basically. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, man. Is it Apaya? But you said, look at the Bitcoin market as prices going up, open interest is dropping. The moves up are just from short squeezes. There's no institutional participation. Yeah, so we were talking about that in Discord. I was talking about that with somebody in Discord yesterday. So if people, if price rises rapidly and open interest is dropping, that is because sellers are, sellers are closing, buyers are not opening, right? You might have a little bit of buyers opening, but the majority is sellers closing. That's why open interest is falling. Man said, what happens when a lot of people default? 2008 happens. So 2008, when we saw that massive global financial crisis, we saw the mortgage crisis. That's what happens when a lot of people default on loans. Turnip said, people don't understand that the virus doesn't go away until we find a vaccine or until we develop herd immunity, which won't work until 90% of the population has it. Yeah, so we need a vaccine, or we need, like, what's it called? Like herd. I can't remember what it's called. It's called like herd immunity or something. When like the majority of the herd gets a virus and they build up antibodies to fight it. Turnip said, already seeing a lot of debt being wiped out off the books in the US and the UK. Just today, they wiped off a lot of the debt in the NHS that the NHS owed. Yeah, they're talking about doing something with the student loans as well. We'll see what they do. So that's helping with like the stimulus bill. They're trying to push back mortgage payments. They're trying to push back like car loan payments. They're trying to push back student loan payments. So all that stuff helps. It definitely helps. But you guys have to think about our country is halted right now. The country is at a standstill. The only companies that are doing well in revenue are companies like Netflix or like Roku or things with like streaming services, or Zoom is doing well because they have the video services, right? So certain tech companies are doing well. But if you look at the top 100 countries in America, companies in America, I guarantee you the majority of them, their revenue is down by more than 50%. And like I said, right now it's all speculation. In the next 2 to 3 months, we're going to have hard numbers to back that speculation. This next earnings season is going to be one of the hardest earnings seasons we will probably ever see. If you guys are wondering why I'm paying so much attention to equities right now and I don't really give a shit about Bitcoin, it's because this is a once-in-a-lifetime financial opportunity. We might see 1 or 2 opportunities like this again in our lifetime. Probably at least 1, I would say. But like for me, this is the first. I did not, like I said, I wasn't old enough to trade '08. I wasn't old enough to trade the .com bubble. I've never had an opportunity like this, so why I'm focusing so heavily on equities. Honestly, Bitcoin could pump to 10K. I couldn't care less, man. You could make so much money if I get my option strategy down, if I get my futures trading strategy down, I could make so much money on a day-to-day basis. I do not care about Bitcoin right now. I was doing the trial, learning the platform today on Top Step Trader. Those first few calls that I called out in Discord when I was doing the analysis, I made 1,500. This was fake money. I'm doing a trial, right? So it's going to be a lot different when I'm live trading. I'm just trying to give you a perspective on how fast the market is moving right now. But don't let me lead you the wrong way. Please don't take this the wrong way. Don't go and open a futures account and go nuts. It's not easy. But just in 30 minutes, I made $1,500 fake money on my trial when I was trading those calls that I was making in Discord. Trading the ES. I was trading 1 contract, sometimes 2 contracts. I think I had 2 contracts, like 1 or 2 trades. The other trades were all 1 contract. That's how fast the equities market is moving right now. It's $50 per point. I made $1,500 in 30 minutes. My goal is, once I start the swing trader account, if I can get funded, My goal is minimum $100 a day. That's like minimum. Anything lower than that, it's not worth my time. $100 a day, if you trade every single trading day of the year and you hit your goal every day, obviously you're not going to have every green day, but you got to think of it on a week-to-week basis. If you can hit minimum $500 a week. So if you have some losing days, but you make it up on some good days, whatever. But on average, if you can average $100 a day, that's $25,000 a year. So anything below that, it's not really worth the time that I put into the trading, right? So that's like minimum goal. My actual goal, I want to make probably closer to $750 to $1,000 a week. $750 to $1,000 a week. That would be my actual goal. But to start out, just to get back into futures and get a feel for it and get back into the day-to-day routine, I'd be happy with $100 a day. Maybe do $100 a day, get some cushion, right? Get some cushion in the account so we can have some bad days. And then start to build it up. And then once we feel comfortable with the platform, feel comfortable back into our day-to-day routine with futures, if we can take that even further, look into getting the 100K or the 150K funded account. It's Top Step Trader is the one that we're using. Me and Sticky are using Top Step Trader. They've been around for a long time. They're very reputable. Sticky has a referral code. If you guys want to test it out, you'll get $50 off your trial, or your combine. I mean, just message Sticky in Discord. He can't post it publicly for certain reasons, but if he wants to give it to you, he can in Discord. You'll get $50 off your combine. I'm not affiliated with him in any way, guys. Not paid to say any of this stuff. I'm just telling you guys what me and Sticky are doing. Let me catch up with chat. Let's see. I hope so. You said, I hope so. That would be hilarious because I haven't paid off shit of my student loans. I haven't either, man. I haven't either. I'm still in school, though, so mine's still deferred. Man said, question is, how is Bitcoin reacting to all this? Bitcoin is pretty much bullishly correlated to SPY. So when SPY is pumping, Bitcoin is pumping. It doesn't seem like it's following negatively in the past couple of days. It was before, but in the past couple of days when SPY has gone down, Bitcoin hasn't really gone down that much. So it seems like it's only bullishly correlated. Yeah, Top Step Trader is the platform. They have different accounts that you guys can try out. I'll have a referral code for you guys here in probably a week or two. But for now, if you guys want to use Sticky's referral code, just mention him in Discord. And he'll let you know. What's a funded account? A funded account is, so for Top Step Trader, let me reiterate this, guys. I want to make sure you guys know that I'm not sponsored or anything. This is all just coming from me. I'm not affiliated, but Top Step Trader, what they do is you have to pass a combine. They call it a combine. It's like a trading test. They want to test if you can trade. So they give you live data. They give you a platform it's actually really nice. I was testing it out today. It's actually a pretty nice platform. It has all the basics. It has like a DOM. It has indicators. It has live data, whatever. So they give you a platform. They give you live data, and you have to follow very certain rules and pass their trading challenge. If you can pass their trading challenge, they will fund your account. So they will give you an account to trade with. And you still have to follow their rules. But if you trade with their account, you keep 80%. I think it's 80%. You keep 80% of your profit, they get 20%. There's a $25,000 account, a $50,000, a $100,000, a $150,000. And there's also one that's not on their website. It's kind of hard to find. It's the one Sticky's doing. It's called the Swing Trader account. You can hold overnight positions, but you can only have, I think, 1 or 2 contracts, and you can trade micros. So while you're doing the combine, while you're doing the test, you have to pay a monthly fee. Yeah, I could probably get you. I don't know if I have an affiliate code. But if you guys sign up with my thing, you get $50 off. It's not easy, though. It's definitely not easy. I wouldn't jump into it thinking it's going to be easy. All right, here we do. I do have a link. So if you guys want to check it out, here it is. You can't total the account, man. They monitor the account. Big buys coming in here. This is the 50 window. This is the Fed window. The Fed comes in at 50 and 55 if they want to start buying. This is 100% Fed. 100% Fed. You don't see this kind of buying like this. But yeah, man, you can't total the account. They will manually close your positions if you are breaking their rules. So you have a daily loss limit. If you hit that limit, you fail the contest or you fail the combine. And they close your account and you have to pay a fee to reopen it. Or if you hit your trailing drawdown, so if you have like multiple bad days back to back, they'll close your account. So you have to be very consistent. You can sign up for a 14-day free trial and test out their platform with real data, and they don't charge you anything. And you can see kind of how the rules are. The trial puts you on the highest account, though, so it doesn't really give you that full feeling of trading on the lower accounts. But they have very nice reports and stuff, too. Kind of like Edgewonk. If you guys remember Edgewonk. They have a lot of really nice reports that show you like your average trades, your win-loss, all that stuff. It probably... Oh, yeah, for sure. It's going to be KYC'd, man. Definitely. And I don't even know if it's allowed outside the United States. You guys would have to check. It's definitely going to be KYC'd. You're trading an equities market, or you're trading a futures market with other people's money, so it's definitely going to be KYC'd. They're not just going to let any schmuck come in and use a VPN and trade on their account. Sorry guys, I got a little off track. I didn't mean to really go into a whole top step fucking spiel. But we bounced off VWAP. You kind of had a little bit of a failure. You regained VWAP. You regained the low of the range, and then you saw that Fed buying come in around 350. So we have another window on the Fed coming in at 355, so about 2 minutes. We'll see another Fed window. You're currently failing that point of origin where we failed the previous 2 times today. So a little bit of resistance coming in again. Look at the green coming in. All green, though. Big buyers. Look at these bids. They disappeared, but there were strong bids there. Yeah, Fed as in the, well, technically the Fed is not government. The Federal Reserve is what I mean, Federal Reserve. A lot of people don't know that. The Federal Reserve is not technically owned by the government. People think it's a big conspiracy. Like, oh no, they're government. They think the only people that say they're not government are like Rothschild conspiracy theorists. But you can look it up. It's the Federal Reserve is not technically owned by the government. Their employees are treated as government employees, though. I will say that. Their employees are treated as government employees. It's called repos, man. They're doing repos. They're trying to prop the market up. They're trying to keep the market going. It's not every single day, man, but it just about is. You don't know when they're gonna do it. You don't know if they're gonna do it. Well, I mean, you kind of do know when they're gonna do it. They have certain windows. They like 340, 350, 355 are three of the big windows. Here, I can find you a website here that shows you Fed repos. Let me see if I can find a good website. Fed repo injections. I had a website before that showed you exactly how much they put into the market, but I lost it. Where is that damn website? Federal Reserve repo operation. Oh, here we go. Here is the website. I actually am playing music. Can you guys not hear the music? Here, I can do this. I'll raise this up. I'll lower this. Have you guys not been able to hear the music recently? It might have been too low. Oh, but yeah, here is the Fed repos. Let's see, do they do any today? Let me make sure I'm in the right spot. Where was the day they did 237 billion? Yeah, 237 billion. Here you go. Treasury. You also had one on, what day was that? My mouse wheel is really irritating. Sorry, guys. 182 billion on April. Oh, was that today? Today's Thursday, right? Yeah, that's today. 182 billion they injected into Treasury today. 207 they injected yesterday. This is billion, guys. Billion. Yeah, so today they've already injected 182 billion. Let me save this website. Make sure we have that. Money printer, exactly, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy. Do they just straight up buy stocks or they do derivatives? I'm not entirely sure on that, so I'm not educated enough on that to speak on that. So I'm not going to say. I'm not entirely sure how it happens. There is the bell, guys. Sorry if that was a little loud. I did raise my volume. Should have warned you guys. That is the close of the day. Let's keep an eye on after hours here. So we closed the day up 2%. Quite ridiculous. All-time high, record-breaking unemployment. We closed the day up 2.5%. Incredible. What's irritating about that is it fulfills the narrative that people believe this is priced in. So every time we see ridiculously bearish news and then it just goes up, everyone's like, oh yeah, I was right. It's priced in. You guys are idiots. How would you describe that Bitcoin 4-hour? I haven't even seen the 4-hour turn up, and I could say it's probably a scam wick, isn't it? It probably looks exactly like this that just happened right as you asked that question, but it's flipped upside down. Let's take a look at it. Yep, there you go. It looks exactly like that candle, just flipped upside down. That is a horrendous candle. But if that was an equities candle, I would sell all of my stocks immediately. Like if I was holding shares in this company, if this was an equities candle, I'm out. But it's Bitcoin. You never know, dude. That's one thing about Bitcoin. It can have the most ridiculously bearish candles and they will still go up. Dima said, but can we read it as just a 2%? As soon as they stop, the price will nuke. That's what I'm thinking, Dima. I'm thinking this is just kind of a trap, right? They're trapping us today. They might trap us tomorrow. And then it's going to nuke it on Monday. I'm thinking if we see a green day tomorrow, it's going to be like a negative 5% day on Monday. That's what I'm thinking. I'm already sitting in long-term puts, or not even long, kind of like mid-term puts on SPY. I'm going out until like May. So I'm already situated for my prediction. If it does keep going up, I'll probably buy more puts. I just don't see it. I don't see that being the bottom. I really don't. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm going to lose some money. I'm definitely going to pay the price. But all of my analysis, my fundamental analysis, my technical analysis, everything tells me that is not the bottom. The only problem is we're fighting against infinite money. And they're not kidding when they say infinite money. They will print, and pump that market until it stays up. So it's hardcore, man. If you're bearish here, you are fighting infinite money. like I told you guys, I would not be making long-term predictions right now. Everything is changing on a day-to-day basis. The farthest I'm going out is like May. I'm not taking any longer plays on SPY, and May is like the longest I'm going. That's 1 month out. I'm not going anything longer than a month. Stuff is changing too quickly to be making long-term predictions. And that's my thought process on it. Oh, but yeah, back on Bitcoin, Turnip. This is incredibly bearish in my eyes. You're below the 200 EMA, massive scam wick up, nuking the late bulls, right? Or sorry, the late shorters. Honestly, nuking some of the bulls too. You probably nuked the late bulls, you nuked the late shorters. You got a lot of people nuked here. How much money can they print without fucking things up? See, that's the thing, dude. I don't know. The crazy thing about all that printing is the dollar is doing well. You would expect, if they're just printing money, that the dollar would be doing bad, right? The dollar's not doing bad. Look at the dollar compared to like JPY. The dollar's not doing that bad. Look at the dollar compared to the euro. They're just printing money. And the dollar's still doing well. And I'm not a currency expert. I don't trade forex. I don't know all the ins and outs of how the currencies work. I don't know how they're valued. So I'm not the guy to ask about it. But from my analysis, all of my reading that I've done, for all the fundamental stuff revolving around what's going on right now, what I've read is, yeah, what Turnip just said. Apparently there's a massive dollar shortage worldwide. All these countries and businesses outside the United States are relying on the dollar. So because they're relying on the dollar stays strong. So even though we're basically creating inflation, but the inflation is not strong enough to outweigh how much the world needs the dollar. Now, obviously, there's going to be a tipping point. It's not going to be able to go on like this forever. Turnip said, I think we're getting Black Friday again tomorrow. It's too scary for people to sit on a pump over the weekend. Then we just got that 6.6 million unemployment claims. What are you talking about? Are you talking about on SPY or Bitcoin? Dima said, but there's a gold SPY decoupling happening. Well, that is not really a decoupling. I guess it's more of a decoupling. But what's happening is, if you go back and you look at what happens to gold when the yield curve is inverted, typically gold will start to perform well even when SPY is performing well or SPY is performing poorly. So when there's an inverted yield curve, which we're currently seeing, gold will typically perform well. And that's what we're seeing. Gold is doing well. You're talking about SPY? Yeah. I think I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Holding over the weekend here, you're out of your goddamn mind. I'm holding month out puts, but if you're holding like weeklies or like short-term trades, you're crazy. Yeah, Dima, definitely. I'd be glad to see it. Let's see. Yeah, Turnip said because emerging markets are dollarizing and have massive US debts. Exactly. So all these markets around the world, all these different countries, they're relying heavily on the dollar. So even though we're creating a little bit of inflation, the dollar is still the top dog, right? It's the king of the market. Obviously, nothing happening after hours, really. Not a whole lot going on. If you guys are new here, don't forget to hit that follow button or that subscribe button if you do like the content. If you guys are new to trading, I have a very long playlist on YouTube going over basic and advanced techniques that I use every day in my trading. It's called How to Trade playlist on YouTube. You can check that out. We also have a free trading course on our website. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to give us your email, nothing. Our website is oasistrading.io. It's over 200 slides, or about 200 slides of written content and picture walkthroughs. It goes over basically all the basics you need to know if you're just getting into trading. And I also live stream at least 3 to 4 times a week. So like I said, if you guys like the content, be sure to hit that follow button, and I'll be streaming again tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, do another power hour. And then I'm not going to stream Saturday. I'll be back on Sunday. I might be back on Sunday. I still haven't decided. I kind of like this equities stream that we've been doing. I know a lot of my crypto guys in here, you don't give a shit about equities, but I really like this kind of schedule that we got going on. So I might not stream on Sunday, but we'll see. We still will have the summary of markets coming out on Sunday in the Discord. If you guys didn't catch the summary of markets last week, we'll have a new one coming out on Sunday. I post all of the old summary of markets in our free Telegram. I believe the channel is Oasis Trading. But basically on Friday and Saturday, I post the last week's summary of markets so you guys can see what we were predicting for the week and kind of how it played out. So I'll be posting that probably tomorrow in the free Telegram, and then I'll be doing a new one on Sunday. But with that said, guys, I think I'm gonna close up the stream. I think we went over a lot today. I think there's definitely enough content in today's video for you guys to go back and watch and learn a few things. I appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, I will be streaming tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, same time, power hour stream. If you guys missed today's stream, it will be on Twitch and it will be on YouTube for you guys to watch. And then I'll be streaming again tomorrow. But all right, guys, you guys have a good rest of your day. Stay safe as always. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, guys.